Let me ask you a question. Who builds the most electric cars in the world? Tesla? That's what almost everyone thinks, but that's not the correct answer. The company that builds the most electric vehicles today is BYD, which means build your dreams. Now here's the strange part. Millions of people have never even heard of BYD. So how did a company that barely existed in the global conversation become one of the biggest names in electric vehicles? Was Tesla too expensive? Did Elon Musk make a mistake? Or did BYD simply build a better business? The answer is far more complicated than you think, because this isn't just the story of Tesla or BYD. It's the story of how one industry changed the balance of power in the global economy. A story about ambition, innovation, politics, and a race to build the future. To understand how this happened, we have to go back more than 20 years. To a time when electric cars were considered unrealistic, to a startup fighting for survival, and to a battery company that nobody believed would one day challenge the biggest names in the automotive world. This is where the real story begins. Before we talk about BYD, we need to understand Tesla. Because without Tesla, there wouldn't be an electric vehicle revolution as we know it today. In the early 2000s, the idea of an electric car wasn't exciting. It was a joke. Most people believed electric cars would always be slow, boring, and completely impractical. The automotive industry had spent more than a century perfecting one thing: the gasoline engine. Companies worth billions of dollars had factories, suppliers, dealerships, and decades of experience. Then came a tiny startup with almost no manufacturing experience, almost no money, and one impossible idea: build an electric car people would actually want to drive. It sounded unrealistic. Batteries were expensive. Charging stations barely existed. Most experts believed electric cars could never compete with gasoline vehicles. And yet, Tesla wasn't trying to build just another car. It was trying to prove that the entire industry had been thinking too small. Against all odds, Tesla succeeded. Not overnight, not without setbacks, but one breakthrough at a time. The Roadster proved electric cars could be fast. The Model S proved they could be luxurious. And suddenly, electric vehicles weren't a compromise anymore. They were the future. Investors noticed. Customers noticed. Governments noticed. Tesla wasn't just selling cars anymore. It was selling an idea that the future could be cleaner, smarter, and electric. By the late 2010s, Tesla had become one of the most valuable companies in the world. To many people, the race was over. Tesla had already won. But history has a habit of changing direction when nobody is paying attention. And thousands of kilometers away, another company was quietly preparing for its own moment. While the world celebrated Tesla, almost nobody noticed what was happening in China. And that's where our story takes an unexpected turn. While Tesla was making headlines, another company, nearly 11,000 kilometers away, was building something very different. It wasn't trying to become the next Tesla. In fact, it wasn't even trying to become a car company. Because before BYD ever built a car, it built something far more important: batteries. And that single decision would eventually change the global automotive industry forever. BYD didn't start with shiny showrooms, luxury electric cars, or billion-dollar factories. It started in a small workshop, making rechargeable batteries. The man behind the company wasn't a celebrity. He wasn't on magazine covers. He didn't give keynote speeches. His name was Wang Chuanfu, an engineer, not a showman. While others chased attention, he obsessed over manufacturing. In the 1990s, rechargeable batteries were becoming one of the fastest growing industries in the world. Mobile phones, laptops, portable electronics, they all needed batteries, and demand was exploding. BYD saw an opportunity, not to build cars, but to master the technology that would eventually power them. Then, something happened that surprised almost everyone. BYD decided to enter the automotive industry. Think about that for a moment. Imagine a company that makes laptop batteries suddenly deciding to compete with Toyota, Volkswagen, and General Motors. It sounded ridiculous. Critics dismissed the idea. Analysts doubted it. Even people inside the automotive industry questioned whether a battery company could ever build a competitive car. But while others laughed, BYD kept building. It didn't focus on headlines. It focused on factories. It didn't chase publicity. It chased efficiency. And over the next decade, that quiet strategy would become its greatest advantage. While the world watched Tesla reinvent the car, BYD was reinventing the factory. One company was building a brand, the other was building an empire. And the difference between those two strategies would eventually reshape the entire electric vehicle industry. But there was one person who saw this long before almost everyone else. His name was Warren Buffett, and his investment changed everything. Warren Buffett wasn't known for chasing trends. He looked for businesses with strong fundamentals, capable leadership, and long-term potential. BYD stood out for a reason. It wasn't just assembling products. It was building many of the key components itself. Batteries, electronics, manufacturing expertise. That level of vertical integration gave BYD more control over cost, quality, and production than many competitors. In 2008, through Berkshire Hathaway's Mid-American Energy Unit, Buffett's company invested roughly $230 million for about a 10% stake in BYD. It wasn't the biggest investment Berkshire had ever made, but the message it sent echoed around the business world. If Warren Buffett believed BYD deserved attention, perhaps everyone else should start paying attention too. The investment didn't instantly make BYD successful, but it gave the company something money alone couldn't buy: credibility. While many companies focused on quarterly results, BYD kept expanding. New factories, better batteries, more engineers, more research, more production. It wasn't chasing headlines. It was preparing for scale. Every factory it built, every battery it improved, every production line it optimized, made the company stronger for the future. And as the global demand for electric vehicles grew, BYD was ready. By this point, Tesla and BYD were no longer simply making electric vehicles. They were building two very different philosophies. Tesla pushed software, performance, and bold innovation. BYD focused on manufacturing, efficiency, and controlling its supply chain. One company inspired the world with a vision. The other quietly strengthened every part of the business behind the scenes. Different strategies, same destination. And sooner or later, those two paths were going to collide. The stage was set. Tesla had captured the world's imagination. BYD had quietly built the machinery to compete. What happened next wasn't just a competition between two companies. It became a contest between two completely different ways of building the future. And when those strategies finally collided, the entire automotive industry felt the impact. That is where the real battle begins. By the early 2020s, the electric vehicle revolution was no longer an experiment. It had become a race. And at the center of that race stood two companies, Tesla and BYD. One had captured the world's imagination. The other had quietly mastered manufacturing. They both wanted the same future, but they planned to get there in completely different ways. This was no longer a business story. It had become a battle